Okay, it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Elena Comelli. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Nutritional Sciences, and here with me today is also Erin Barker, who is our graduate administrator. Erin is the person who receives and manages all of the applications, and then also is a great support and help for the students throughout their graduate program. So I would just like to start by giving you like a brief outline of what I'd like to discuss with you today. So we go through an overview of our department and which are our main areas of research, reasons that you may have to consider graduate school in our department, the type of degrees that we offer, the requirements in terms of courses and research in order to get these degrees, and then our applications and admission process, including a few words on funding and scholarships, and then hopefully we'll be able to answer all of your questions. So for a start, who we are in the Department of Nutritional Sciences. So we are a basic science department within the Faculty of Medicine. And being located within the Faculty of Medicine is quite special for the Department of Nutritional Sciences and enable us to draw on the extraordinary strengths of the other basic science departments in our faculty, as well as the public health and clinical departments, so that we can achieve our mission, which is to use nutrition research, education, and leadership as a key driver to enhance the health, wellness, and prosperity of individuals and population. So we are driven by our vision for an equitable local and global nutrition health across the life cycle. So we are a faculty comprising 57 members, which includes 16 core faculty, 28 who are status only, 11 emeritus professors, and 2 adjunct professors. We work and conduct our research on campus and or in some of the affiliated hospitals affiliated with the Faculty of Medicine, in particular the Hospital for Sick Children and St. Michael's Hospital at Unity Health. So our graduate students will be trained in the field of nutritional sciences, primarily to be academic leaders, but also practice leaders. And we hope and look forward for them to make a difference in terms of health outcomes. We are very fortunate to have very strong graduate students who are excited about the research that they conduct and who make us proud. They are the recipients of some of the most prestigious academic awards. For the past 5 years, for example, we had our students were awarded 1 Vanier, 11 CHR, CGS doctoral fellowship, and at the master level, we had 8 NSERC and 18 CHR awards during the past 5 years. So I wanted to give you like an overview of the areas of research in our department. And we essentially have 4 core research platforms: healthy human development and aging, nutrigenomics and personalized nutrition, chronic disease prevention and treatment, and nutrition, food, and public policy. So within these platforms, research ranges from basic, fundamental type of research to clinical research and to epidemiology and public health. So there is really like breadth in our department with PIs that are focused on basic type of studies and other at the other end of the spectrum who impact in terms of policy and population health. So and this happens within the 4 research platforms. So a few examples are here for nutrigenomics and personalized nutrition. For example, we have projects in the omics areas, as well as the microbiome, studying bioactives, and for healthy human development and aging, we have projects that deal with epigenetics, fetal programming, nutritional programming, obesity, pediatric nutrition, cognition, and so on and so forth. So our department also has a large network of strategic collaborations. For example, we are a WHO collaborating center for nutrition policy and for chronic disease prevention. And we also, like members of our department, also establish proof which is an interdisciplinary research platform that investigates household food insecurity in Canada. Most of our research is conducted in the laboratories, wet and dry laboratories in the MSD building, but we also have a Nutrition Intervention Center, which is located in the Naylor building, and which allows us to conduct intervention clinical trials. The department is also home to important initiatives such as the ANSWER PFS NRA program. PFS NRA stands for the Program in Food Safety, Nutrition, and Regulatory Affairs. It was established in 1992 in our department, and it's essentially a conduit bringing together all parts of the food system with the ultimate goal of achieving a healthier Canadian population. So in this program, the focus is shifted from treating chronic disease to prevent disease at the dinner table. So the program assists the food system by providing scientific expertise, which is used to address food safety, nutrition, and regulatory issues that affect Canadian consumers. We also are one of the 3 founding departments who collaborate and initiated the Joannah and Brian Lawson Center for Child Nutrition. This Lawson Center the offices are located in our department. The mission of the center is to support research, education, and policy to improve nutrition in children, families, and communities in Canada and globally. At the center, we have 4 strategies to address overweight, obesity, and malnutrition, and food insecurity in children in Canada and worldwide. And these strategies span from discovery science, so basic research approaches, to implementation science, knowledge translation, and policy impact. So as our faculties variously participates in all of these different programs, and therefore their students are exposed to these collaborative networks and the research that is conducted within them. So now let's move to the details of grad school and what may help you decide if it is a good fit for you to do grad school in our department. So doing graduate studies in our department, if you are interested in nutritional sciences, this will allow you to work with global leaders in nutrition research. Many of our faculties are recognized worldwide for their research, and they are innovators and drivers of nutrition research worldwide. So this means that you will have the opportunity to work on the cutting edge of research. You will be exposed not only to state-of-the-art techniques and approaches, but you will be part of research that develops new techniques and new approaches and you will be contributing to this. As such, you will have the opportunity to publish in the scientific literature. Many of our students, including master's students, do have publications at the end of their studies. In terms of career opportunities, this is really broad. Of course, academia is a possible avenue for our graduates. But as you may be familiar with the 10,000 PhD projects, which was a study conducted by the School of Graduate Studies that found that U of T graduates, in fact, find career options in all possible sectors. So including academia, but also private sectors. I think 20% of our PhD graduates find a job in the private sector, but also government. So for example, Health Canada or philanthropic organization and NGOs. And while this is true for graduates at U of T worldwide, it also applies to our department. So all of these opportunities will be open for you. So as it is the case for the other departments in the Faculty of Medicine, as graduate students, you will have a stipend, and our department is a signatory of the Faculty Harmonized Agreement for student stipends. And to determine if it's a good fit for you or not, for those who are still debating if research is a potential avenue for them and who are still doing undergraduate studies, we always suggest that they consider taking taking advantage of one of our undergraduate research opportunities that are offered in our department. So we have a research course for third and fourth year undergraduate students, and we have a summer research program. So this information is available at our website, and I'll let you access the website for details. But both these opportunities offer you like a hands-on experience of what a graduate research program may look like, because they offer you the possibility of tackling research in all of its aspects. For example, the research project course looks at a research starting from the proposal, running the experiments in the wet or dry lab, and then writing a report in the form of a publication, of a scientific publication. So it gives you the opportunity to see all the different stages and steps, which then will be explored on a larger scale at the graduate level. So your life is going to change from undergrad. You will have a less structured work environment. You will be the driver of the bus. You will have the responsibility for your project, obviously under the supervision of the PI, of the professor who supervises your work. But you will be able to explore science and learn from the scientific literature, from the work of your peers and the work both within the university and outside the university. So what do you need to have to apply to our graduate program? So a strong academic transcript in terms of grades, like for the last 2 years, we would like students to have at least an A- as a GPA or research experience, significant research experience. It is important to have taken courses in nutritional sciences, but this is not necessary. So other relevant disciplines that contribute to your background in science will have you prepared for grad school in our department. So it is not necessary to have undergraduate course in nutritional sciences. Research experience, if you have any, that is welcomed. And of course, because you are going to do graduate studies, both at the master and PhD level, interest in discovery, like curiosity and willingness, desire to find out the why of things is important in order to pursue graduate studies. So it will be important to be a motivated and resilient person, independent, self-motivated, and a team player, because our research is very collaborative, obviously within each group, but our PIs also collaborate a lot with each other. So our graduate students are often co-supervised and do not have just one primary, they do have one primary supervisor, but they also have often a co-supervisor if the two PIs collaborate. So it's important to be able to work as part of the team. So we have two types of degrees. We have the master degrees for which last 2 years, and we have the PhD degrees that last usually 4 years, 4 to 5 years. We do not have an option for direct entry to the PhD. So our students with a bachelor will have to enter at the master level, though we have an opportunity for reclassification. So at the end of the first year of their masters, students who would like to pursue a PhD and who have sufficient data to substantiate their PhD, they can take a reclassifying exam and be transferred to the PhD program without the need to complete the second year of their master. So the degree requirements. So we are a research intensive department. So we put heavy emphasis on the independent thesis research project. And therefore the course requirements is kept at a minimum. For the master students, they need to take 2 courses, ideally completed in the first year. And the PhD students, they need to take 4 courses, 2 completed in the first year, and all 4 have to be completed by the end of the 3rd year. So in addition, both masters and PhD students, they have to present yearly at our department seminars, which are held weekly, And master students present 2 times once a year, and PhD students will present 4 times once a year. So for the master student, at the end of the 2 years, they have a thesis. They have to write a thesis, of course, and then they have to defend their thesis in front of a master's examination committee. And PhD students, on the other hand, they have to take first a qualifying exam at the end of their first year, where they present their proposal and answer questions about the background for their research and their study approach. And at the end of the PhD, they will have to write a dissertation. There will be a departmental defense in front of a committee, which is composed of members of the department, including external examiner who must be external to the department. And then at the end, there will be the final official SGS defense. We also have opportunities for our students to take part in the graduate collaborative specialization. These are inter-university graduate field of study that provides additional multidisciplinary experience for students who are enrolled in various programs like U of T. So for students who are in our department, the programs that the graduate collaborative specialization that they can access are listed here. The neuroscience is coming up, is currently not yet listed as such at the website, but it's also one of them on the list. So benefits for the students include being exposed to a multidisciplinary study and research approaches. It is important for them for establishing networking opportunity, and then the completion of the collaborative specialization is indicated by a transcript notation that indicates these additional specializations. So what is involved? So I invite you, so that we don't use like too much of our time today, you can visit their website to know what is involved in terms of the application, and it may vary a little bit across the various specialization programs, but usually there is a formal application process with forms to be completed, a CV, statement of interest, and reference letter to be submitted, and a requirement is being registered in a participating degree program. And there are also some specialization requirement, which usually one core course, which is required for these programs. So how does the application process work, and how are admissions handled in our department? So the application process is entirely online, so you can visit this website, and it will give you all the information and help you step by step throughout your the submission of your application. So we have deadlines. The deadlines for submitting the online application is January 15, and but you have until February the 1st to submit the supporting documents, meaning the 2 letters of reference, your transcripts, the letter of intent, and your CV. So we also have a second application round during the year, where the deadline is June 15, June 30, but I invite you to stay tuned and check on the website to be sure about the exact date for 2027. So what do you need for your application? First of all, as for any application that you may have worked on in the past and that you may have to work on in the future, read the instructions carefully and make sure that your application is complete. So we will need transcripts. The U of T transcripts you can download from Rosie. Other transcripts are, you can submit unofficial ones. We know it's complicated sometimes to get the officials, but the official transcript will be required when you are admitted. You will need 2 letters of references, ideally from people who can comment on your academic and research history and potential. So it's better that this letter come from professors or people you have been working with who know you and know what your potential for graduate studies is. So just as a suggestion, because all of us write many reference letters for many students, it's advisable to start early requesting this letter, so not too close to the deadline, to give time to the person to write a strong letter in support of your application. And the institutional emails and letterhead are required for these reference letters. You will need to write a statement of intent and or a short research proposal. You can describe your background, your general areas of interest. If you already know of the PI with the research of the PI in our department that you feel particularly aligned with and that fits with your interest, please indicate that in your statement of intent. And if by any chance you're already working with a professor, because maybe you have done a first-year research project or a work study program student or any type volunteering, any type of research, you can work with your supervisor, ask for help and advice on how to prepare your statement of intent. And then please also include your curriculum vitae. And if you have any publication or any abstracts or that any of your research output that has been included and disseminated to the community, please make sure to list those because those are important, and make sure that you list them properly with the proper authorship and the citation written correctly. So once you have submitted, what happens to your application? So for the School of Graduate Studies, as we said earlier, you need a 4-year degree in the mid-B average, but for our admission committee, A- in the last 2 years of full-time study will be required. You will have like nutrition and or other relevant courses from your undergrads, and you will have research experience, or if you don't have, you may have other relevant backgrounds or activities that you may have been involved in. So just please mention everything that you've done on your curriculum vitae. So when your applications are evaluated by the admission committee, then if you're found admissible, you will receive a letter around the end of March, beginning of April, after which you can start searching for a supervisor to accept you. So we consider a student accepted when there has been a match with a supervisor and the formal acceptance by a professor to act as your supervisor and take the responsibility of your studies for the length of your program. So there needs to be suitability match between you and your supervisor in terms of topic, background, and maybe working style, and the supervisor has the responsibility to cover your stipend. So the funding aspect is also important here. So master's and PhD students receive financial support as a guaranteed base funding amount, and you can find the details on this amount at that link. And students are also highly encouraged to also apply for competitive scholarships, which can be from the Tri-Council, but also Ontario Graduate Scholarship, various of the internal awards or various foundations that would fund students working in particular areas of interest. Other issues, so you may defer your admission for up to 1 year. You start contacting supervisor after admission to the program, as I said earlier, and just as general statistics, 52% of the students who apply to our program are accepted, and 33% are admitted to the program because they were able to secure a supervisor. So we have less spots available than the number of students who apply. So if you would like further information, I hope we can address most of your questions today. If not, feel free to contact us. This is our contact information for Elena and myself, and you can also find it at our website. And I will now be happy to take any questions. I'm going to read the first one. It is really difficult to seek for research opportunity, especially during COVID. Would people with no research experience have a disadvantage of not being admitted? No, people with no research experience will not have a disadvantage. Having the opportunity to do research as an undergrad it's helpful for those who can, because it helps them decide if this could be an option as a career path for them, but it's not necessary to have research experience to be admitted into our program. So we consider the application as a whole, and everything that the student has done, every experience that the student may have that contributes to the student potential for graduate studies. And when should we start preparing to apply? As soon as possible, as always, right? So the first application round, these are due mid-January. So it takes time to write a strong statement of intent, prepare your CV, and get those letter of references. So as soon as you start preparing your application, the more time you will have to revise it, ask for advice, and make it the strongest possible. Any more questions?
Any other questions for Elena? Please put it in the Q&A or the chat.
If more questions come up and after you have had some time to think about this, feel free to contact Erin or myself, and we'll be able to answer and provide any support you may need.
Okay, thank you, Elena.
Okay, thank you, Natasha.